I'm Chakaris, an African-American male and a fourth-year medical student at Morehouse School of Medicine, and this is my elevated story. Growing up, I started playing soccer when I was around 6 years old, and that was kind of consumed me. Everything I did day in, day out was soccer. And in ninth grade, I went to the doctor just for routine physical so I could play sports in high school, and they noticed a murmur. That ultimately led to me being worked up for cardiomegaly, which I was ultimately diagnosed with at the time, and that stopped me from playing sports for about 2 months. And during that time, I was, pretty sad, pretty depressed because I was a kid that just loves to run and do everything. I wasn't allowed to do any of that at all. I was just stuck inside. But the mentor, the cardiologist, he let me know that there was a world outside of sports. He ran track in Kansas, and he ultimately landed a job, in medicine, and he loves it. He said he was very fulfilled. So that helped me open my eyes to the world of medicine. Because at the time, the only thing I was thinking about was soccer. I wanted to be like Messi and all of them. But through that connection, I was able to open my door and open my eyes to this. So coming from San Antonio, Texas, in my graduating class, I was one of three African Americans. I was the only African American male in my graduating high school class. And then I went to University of Texas in Austin, which was about 3% African American, and like 4%, African. And there I realized that it does help to have connections, especially in your community. People that look like you, they will often go harder for you to make sure you can get those opportunities. So for me, it was a really big deal to go to school at a HBCU medical school. And Morehouse, in my opinion, was the best one. And ultimately, I got in and it gave me money. And I think it was a great decision because I have a lot of examples of African American physicians around me. Just because we practice in Atlanta and our school mainly is, African American staff. And I believe it really helps, especially get over like the imposter syndrome, thinking that maybe you shouldn't be here. Maybe like it was luck and things like that. And when you're around these physicians, and they're very confident who they are because they've been in the field for a long time, it really helps solidify the fact that you deserve to be here and you have a space in this workplace. So for me, coming to HBCU was just, monumental in helping grow like my self-confidence as a African American physician, and getting those resources that would help me go to the next level in my career, academic and in the private sector of medicine. So the cost of medical school is astronomical, upwards of $250,000 on average, just from the indebtedness of med school alone. So I started thinking about this early on. My mom helped me to think about this when I was applying to undergrad. I really wanted to go to Baylor. I had a friend that gone there; he loved it, but it was expensive school. $70,000 for per year in undergrad is ridiculous. So I ended up not going there, and I ultimately went to the University of Houston because I got a full like ride scholarship for undergrad, which was amazing. And then on top of that, I was able to get scholarships to help with the housing and helped with books and everything like that and study resources. So the cost of medical school has always been a factor in my mind. And then when I came to Morehouse School of Medicine, I was lucky to have gotten some of that covered just from the scholarships that they offer here. They're really good about finding those for us. And then as I progressed throughout the years, I was able to get more, based on merit and things like that. But it's always a burden because, there's no way around it. You got to graduate with a little bit of debt at least, so it has changed like my view on especially where I want to practice and where I can go to residency, for example, because with debt and the income we make as a resident physician, I can't go to a lot of markets that are very expensive. Like almost everything in California is kind of off my list. Northeast the same way because you can't can't afford the cost of living and you can't buy a house, things like that. So it's just a burden that really weighs down on us new physicians in the field. Yeah, for me to be named an Elevate Med Scholar was huge because once again, people are just validating, the hard work and the struggle that you've been through, and they recognize that. So for me, it was really big, and then also the networking opportunities that they provide at the Elevate Med Ignite Atlanta event. I was there. I was able to see a lot of physicians in the area that I've never even come in contact with. Uh, and I think that was great because it really just opened another door for me to meet these excellent providers in Atlanta that do all types of specialties. My school only does primary care. So I ran into neurosurgeons, urologists, neurologists, the whole whole nine yards. So for me, this the networking, and we have residents and other students that are going all around the nation. I might be in their vicinity doing my rotations and maybe even for residency. So I think it's just great to have people in your corner that have had similar experiences and can say as well that they're Elevate Med scholars.